Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, children of all ages, welcome on this bright and if you are up north, freezing Saturday morning because it is cold as shit up here.
You're saying that like it's not cold down here. You know, it's a nice freezy. What are we at?
What?
36. It's 36 here. It's 36.
We're at 13.
13, 36. You know, I've never been good at math. You know.
Welcome to UTR presents Dead Man Talking. It's me, your boy, Penny Sillin. That's right. Here with the man behind the boards, Bill's fence guy, Mongo.
What's going on, folks? We have a interesting episode to talk about, to say the least. Oh my god. I told you the second I started watching it, I was like, oh, they're gonna go in a very different direction than they did in the game. And they did. They went the exact opposite direction they did in the game.
From what you showed me, because like I said before, the way this podcast is working right now, Mongo has actually played the game. I have not, so I'm going into this TV show just based off of the TV show. Now, while I was watching the show this week, I didn't have many reactions. I didn't have many, thoughts of anything. But at the end of the show, I realized that for most of the show, I was doing this. Just staring. And it wasn't for the fact of, well, pretty much let's just come on and say it. The show is pretty much based, the whole episode is based on the the whole episode is based on Bill and Frank's relationship. And the relationship isn't what bothered me. What bothered me was how I felt it was, because of the ending, I felt it was a very random ass episode. And let's just talk about the episode. All right. So I'm thinking, as somebody, like I said, who's never played the game, I'm thinking that episode 3 is going to come in, with a little flashback, like how they all do, something that happened during 2003. And I was right. It was a flashback. I just didn't realize the whole episode was a goddamn flashback.
They moved the flashback to the middle, to the meaty part, and the regular stuff is in the beginning and the end. The current time is the bread of the sandwich, and the flashback was everything else.
Right.
The meat, the lettuce, the tomato, the bacon, all of it.
It threw me off because I was like, oh, the whole episode? Really? The whole episode? And the reason, like I said, the reason I get mad is what happens towards the end of the episode. But
we'll get there. We'll get
there. So we pretty much, what happens is we get introduced to Bill.
But before that, we see Joel and Ellie not really bonding, just kind of agreeing to what's happening.
Right, kind of agreeing to just get along for the sake of surviving. That's pretty much what's happening. And you pretty much, Joel pretty much tells her she can't ever bring up Tess again.
Mm-hmm. She says, look, and he says, I don't want your apology. And she says, I wasn't going to apologize. I was going to say, you shouldn't expect me to apologize for something that wasn't my fault. Like, oh.
Yeah, Ellie's a
Oh.
Ellie slash Veronica, because let's not forget when she first came on, her name was Veronica until Marlene told her name was Ellie. Okay, so she's a dick. Like, let's keep it a buck here. She's a dick. Okay, this little kid is a dick. She got a smart mouth. She always getting into something. She's just an overall dick. So they pretty much, she, like Margot said, pretty much they agree that, you know, to just get along just for the sake of getting along. And as they're growing and moving, they come across what looks like a little house. Slap me. There would listen. There would be no penicillin here today.
Look,
Okay,
Mama Bush had a frying pan, a cast iron skillet. All right, so
my mother has
I was very wary.
My mother has the meanest left hook in the business. Okay, just the meanest left hook in the business. Just gotta get that shit up. fucking with Mama Rivers. And Mima, you gotta keep it up. You know what I mean? So
I once made a smart ass comment to my mom when I was like 17, walking out the door. She, from up the top of the stairs with the TV remote, chucked it and hit me bam in the back of the head as I was closing the door.
mm-hmm.
Moms, I don't know what it is about them. They got like great athletic feats when it comes to kicking your ass for saying something stupid. It's a superpower they get.
Listen, I made the dumb mistake at 14. My mother hit me with a belt, and I looked at her and said, "Ha, that don't hurt no more."
Oh shit!
Yeah.
Ooh.
Next thing I know, I had a broom cracked right across my back. Because then, not only did I say it, my dumb ass thought I was brave and walked away, tried to walk away after I said it. And she grabbed the closest thing, which was the broom. Yeah, I woke up, it was Sunday. I know this happened on a Friday. But so yeah, I wouldn't have made it if I was Ellie. Not one bit. So they pretty much damn. All right, you won.
He's in the game. So expecting the action pack scene. Yeah, so like we'll get into it more, but so if you didn't play it, people that did play it were expecting a betrayal because a betrayal happens in the game.
There was no betrayal in this episode.
Yeah. I'll just go ahead and say it. In the game, Frank hates Bill's guts. It's a very it's they still live together, but again, it doesn't end the way it ends here. Is just the best way I can put it. And we'll talk about it later because I showed Kenny part of it and he laughed his ass off.
Right. Once I saw that, I was like, nah, this is ridiculous. Like so Joel and Ellie are traveling along and they get to pretty much this fence. And when they get to the fence, this is when the flashback starts to happen. And you flash back to 2003 when this first pandemic comes down, and you see the military emptying out an entire town, like completely emptying out an entire town. And you see this one guy like below in a bunker, just kind of listening out for everything, waiting for everything to die down. And he gives it about a good, couple of hours or whatever for stuff for, he can hear all the trucks go because he has cameras set up everywhere also. So he can see everything. How he got these cameras set up from the get-go is another, but no, these were cameras that were around his house. So that's how he got those set up. So he's looking and he can see when everything pretty much is going down. Everybody leaves. And once everybody leaves, your man comes out and hijacks the town.
This is like the crazy white batshit nuts prepper that you see on all those shows on like
and
TLC or history. This is like their dream come true.
And clearly he's the man for the job. He clearly the man.
He had a plan. He had a plan B. He had a plan C. All the way through Z. He was ready for this to happen. Because I'm mayor of the town. By the way, real quick, before the flashback, we see Ellie like walk up into a field that Joel tells her not to go to. And what we see is like a group of skeletons of just like remains of people. Mm-hmm. And she's like, doesn't look like they were from sick. Infected, sick. And Joel says, no, they didn't have any room at the QZ. And when they don't have any room, they gotta, make sure that you don't get infected. Mm-hmm. And we see this like scarf around this one body.
Woman. Right. It was like a scarf in her dress. And then when the flashback happens, you see this particular woman and her baby getting on one of the military trucks to be escorted out of town. So we clearly see she never made it to a QZ zone.
Yeah, that was great. That was kind of let you know that, okay, Bill might be a little off, he might be missing a few crayons in the box, but he was right.
It looks like this entire town was just brought out to slaughter. From as many bones and stuff as was going on in this particular graveyard behind these bushes, it legit looks like this particular town was a sacrifice town. Come on, Jericho. He's a Jericho man. Like scarves.
Yeah, that's right. Fair enough.
You know what I mean? Yeah. So this particular town was definitely one of the sacrifice towns that didn't have it, but they didn't have the room, but they wanted to make sure it couldn't spread. So we see the crazy guy Bill comes out the woodworks, like I said, and hijacks the entire town. He has
a gas mask. He had what do they call like bandolito, like the stuff. He got like a shotgun. Yeah. He came out. He was
your man.
He was ready to go.
Your man had a plan. Got in his truck. First thing he went and got was gas. Filled up a bunch of containers. Yeah.
Look, right. Those people. I'm not gonna say names. I know people that are like this, and this is like this guy had this for like 10, 15 years.
First of all, the arsenal he had supplied down there. Your man had everything from handguns to semi-automatics to assault rifles to shotguns. Like, he's been playing in this shit for decades. Okay, what? It was 2003 when this shit hit. He's been playing 2003. He's been playing this since '86.
Oh yeah. Oh man. Like when like the Y2K craze was happening, he was like, "All right, it's my time. Here we go," and it didn't happen. And I'm sure he was pissed. Like, damn.
He got it 3 years later, though, baby.
Yeah. I know it's coming. It's coming, and it came. And
Bill goes out. He gets gas.
He got a boat.
Right.
Gas.
He got a boat for gas. He got everything that he needed because the entire town was gone. Your man went into the liquor store and took all the expensive wines. All the expensive wines. Why? Because during this time of his survival, Bill has learned to become a gourmet chef and how to pair food with goddamn wines.
Because you know what? Why not?
Why the fuck not? What the fuck else are you gonna do? Bill is out here making duck. He's out here doing a whole bunch of shit. And one of the things that came to a thought of mine is Bill was doing this for he was doing it for a while by himself, probably about what, maybe close to 3 years before Frank comes along.
Something like that. Yeah, long enough to where he assumed
Nobody was
else
around.
was coming. Yeah, he thought he was done. He thought it was just him.
Right. So we got about 3 years. The one thing that did pique my thought process is, okay, if they haven't showed the infected like the infection affecting any animals, wouldn't that be almost like first, almost before human
Mm.
in most cases?
I'm sure there's an explanation somewhere in the games about why it doesn't happen. I can't remember for the life of me what it is,
Because
but I don't
I
think.
was
Yeah, because there's a point later on where like they're like in this little garden, and I thought they had like a little camera shot of the fungus getting in the crops,
mhm.
and that's not what it was. And I thought that's what they were going towards, and they ended up not doing it. So I don't know. That's a good question.
Yeah, because I'm thinking like like because Bill stayed with fresh meat. And after 3 years of being in that town, I don't care how many houses there are, whatever the case may be, some of that meat from them old houses in that supermarket are gonna go bad. But he was getting still fresh meat. Like, and I know he wasn't doing enough to his generator was enough to make sure what he needs to go on was able to be powered. I'm sure he wasn't doing generators for every single goddamn house in there to make sure that everybody's freezers kept meat frozen. So that's why I thought, like, where the hell is he getting some of this fresh meat? Like, shouldn't some of these eventually some animals be contaminated with something?
I I think at that point it's just like, hey, it's a TV show. Don't think about it too much, kind of thing.
All right.
Because like I think that's a really good point. That is one of those like, if you really think about this, there's no way in hell he can get this much fresh meat for 20 years. Like, not even the fact that like it's not affecting animals. Where are you getting these other animals from? Why are
Right.
you like it's
Where are they roaming
yeah.
in from? Like, uh,
That's possible. Yeah,
that could be.
I could see that. I could see that. Yeah.
That could be. Well, we're gonna get to that in a second. So Bill is here living his best life, dolo, him and his Vaseline and his Maggies, and his magazines. Right. So all of a sudden, there's someone outside of the gate coming up, and Bill has the intruder alarm because it's Fort Knox around there now. Bill has flamethrowers set up around that fence. Bill has traps. The fence itself will electrocute the shit out your ass. There's a whole bunch of stuff going on
And then
with
fry
this.
you and then burn
Right.
your ass alive.
Like, there's a whole bunch going on. So Bill walks up to Frank, and Frank like, I'm not infected. Bill pulls out the little thingamajiggy. Bill, for somehow, was able to get one of the mechanisms to tell if somebody is infected or not. Where the hell this survivalist man got this from? Who the hell knows? I thought only the military had it. So he was able to test Frank. Frank comes out. Turns out he's not infected. Tells Bill, look, please, all I want is something to eat.
No. She's right. She's right. He would have died a lot sooner. A lot sooner because we'll get into it. But Frank introduces Bill to some friends that are kind of vital to survival later on.
So they he brings him in. He lets Frank come in reluctantly, mind you, reluctantly. He's still not 100% sure about Frank. He's like, not too sure, but you know what? So far, it says you're okay. So let's go with that. So far, lets Frank take a shower. Now, mind you, Bill has running hot water, heat, everything. Okay, Frank has been God knows where doing who knows what, just trying to
For all these
survive.
years,
Right,
how much grime and filth is on him right now? Like that's years and years of dirt.
right.
No shower, nothing.
It was.
Look, you
So
gotta get some kind of entertainment out of something, you know.
out of something, out of something. So we get Bill sitting down back at the table because Bill was getting ready to eat when Frank came upon him. Right. Oh, Bill Frank came all the way from the Baltimore queue. They were definitely up in the
He was
Boston area.
leaving Baltimore QZ or going. Where was he going? You're right, group of 10. Yeah, and he was all, and that was it. He was by himself. Mm-hmm. So he's lucky to fall into that damn hole.
Right.
Also, before I forget, this episode was dedicated to the voice actress of Tess from the original games, who passed away, I believe, last week.
Oh, our condolences go out to her and her family.
Yeah. So they at the end of this episode, they make sure to show that, which is nice. And again, the one of the people from the original game is very involved in this. So of course we're going to see a lot of support for stuff like that. The Arby's comment.
So Frank lets him in. Bill lets Frank in. Frank takes a shower. Bill gives him a set of clothes to put on, and he sits Frank down for dinner, which is pretty much a roasted duck with carrots, potatoes, and a red wine. So Frank looks up at Bill like, "What the fuck?" Like, mind you, we forgot the most important part of this. Bill is Ron Swanson, ladies and gentlemen.
He plays the same character in everything he's ever done. He plays himself in everything. And you know what?
It works.
It works. It works every damn time. It works every damn time.
He's also Critter from Bob's Burgers, if you watch Bob's Burgers, and he's the father from the Great North.
The Great North. Yeah. I started watching the Great North because he was in it.
So Bill you got this guy Bill.
I've never seen the Kings of Summer. Have you?
No, I have not.
I need to look that up.
Right. Thank you for the recommendation. So if you look at Bill pretty much looks like, all right, Bill looks like Alan from The Hangover if he went to military, if he went into the military at some point and had PTSD. That's so you don't expect Alan from The Hangover to come down with a duck dinner and a red wine.
It is in his arm like this, was carrying 2 plates.
Right. So Frank eats the meal and he sees this piano that Bill has. And when the part yeah, that's it right there. I caught on to that once he sat down at the table, and it made me look, and I said, "Are they flirting?" That's when this face happened. Like, oh, they flirting? I said, oh shit.
Got
I think they
impressed.
flirting.
First date got impressed.
I was like, oh shit. I think they flirting. So Bill don't Frank a sandwich. Saying I'm walk with this. Not. Yeah. Right. Bill had intentions.
Bill knew what he was doing.
Bill had intentions.
Hot take. Bill was after Frank the whole time.
Hot take. Bill was tricking from day one. Okay. Bill was tricking from day one. Hot take. Right there. So we get Frank, who's flirting back, going, I just usually don't come up to a strange man and get meals. I don't want you to think it's nothing like that. Let me at least try to repay you back. And Bill's like, no, I'm all right. I'm all right. But in Bill's time, he's thinking, you damn right you gonna pay me back.
He says, all
Frank
right,
goes,
it's time for me to leave. Bill says, all right. And he stands up and he says,
Oh, is that piano? Is that
right.
real?
He said, is that a real piano? It ain't tricking if you got it. Mayor Bill definitely got it. Right. Bill was tricking though. Bill saw Frank and said, yo, come here, tenderoni young thing. I pay a bill for you. So Frank starts playing, I forget what song it is, and it's pissing Bill off that Frank isn't giving this song justice. Bill's about to shoot this motherfucker because he's not doing the song justice. Bill gets on.
I had this here because I thought it was going to be important. Linda Ronstadt.
Okay.
It was a long time. Yeah, long time. I thought I had it written down, but I must have deleted the note because it plays later. It plays like throughout the episode.
Yeah. So we get Bill just like pushes him over, like, get out the goddamn way. Let me show you how it was really done. And you get Bill on the keys, hitting his Mario Winans. I don't wanna know. Like he is swooning. Frank over here. Right? Your man Bill, aka John Legend, is over here getting it.
Looking back at it, man. Looking back at the whole situation. You know what? Yeah.
Right.
I know what you are.
You a dirty old man. I know exactly what you are. You a dirty old man. And Alicia Bill pretty much
from butchering the song.
That he almost did. He almost did. And then like
he almost shot him for insulting the music that his mom had.
Right.
Who did that? Who had that? That's my mother's music, actually.
Right. Honestly, in the beginning of the meal, even though Bill was swooning him and flirting, he still didn't have his hand never side with the gun. Like he was ready to pop Frank at any given moment until Frank messed up the song. And then that's when the panties dropped. So they get all close. And Frank hits him with the. And Frank hits him with the go upstairs and take a shower. I'm like, oh shit, it's going down. Nigga told him to go take a shower. Okay. Next thing you know, you get Frank in the bedroom laying down, and Alan from The Hangover comes in with his towel wrapped around him, and we get a loving scene.
And what did he say? I want to let you know that I don't do this all the time.
Right. He hits him with the. He hit him with the. I don't usually do this, but I like you. Frank legit hit him with the, I don't usually do this, but let me tie this ponytail up. Frank legit hit him with that.
And then the next scene is like 5 years later. They're arguing about wanting to fix up the town.
Now, me and Margo were joking in the chat, right? Me and Margo were joking in the chat. I think this is one of the first times that I've seen in a story that's supposed to be about zombies and stuff like that. This is one of the first time where I've seen an actual romantic setting after a homosexual or gay encounter. Like, we watched Interview with the Vampire and we were laughing because we were like, yeah, okay, it was they were gay, they were in love, you know what I'm saying? They had sex scenes, but then right after that, they were ripping somebody's face off.
Love's a strong word, I think, in that relationship. That's I don't know if that's the right way I'd call that, but yeah.
Right.
Like it'd be this like scene with them together, and then the next scene is someone getting torn to shreds.
Right.
In this
here,
they're together, and then the next scene, I just want to build my own.
They are
and make it look nice. And then like the next,
right. It made me laugh because it was like, yo, usually, like in most TV shows or something like that, even with like the movie Brokeback Mountain or whatever, there was the romantic scene, and then there was them trying to break a steed in, like the quote unquote manly man scene afterward. Here, it was a romantic scene, and next thing you know, they're a 15-year married couple. So I was like, this is fun. It's different. It's cool.
It's different. Yeah, like that's where it's like, okay, all right, I kind of want to see where this goes.
Right.
Like,
That's that, and you know what? And that right there, for people who have not played the game, that moment right after that scene where you see that they are a couple, that's where you get totally vested into the character Bill and Frank. Mm-hmm. The fact that the next scene with them arguing about opening up a boutique and stuff like that, you and Frank talking about people will come, and I just want this place to look nice. That makes you go, okay, they're very important to this show. They're going to be around for a while. We need to see what goes on with the rest of this. It gives you that sense of feel. Like if it was, I'm gonna be honest, if it was a normal, like we said, there'd be a sex scene and then something dramatically violent right after, you wouldn't be that invested into them in this particular series because you figure, okay, this is what's supposed to happen. Somebody's going to get infected and this is what's going to happen. Bill's going to have to kill Frank or something like that. Like, you're expecting that. But to see them in an actual relationship, you're like, oh, they're important.
Let's get vested into it. We got a 40-minute live action adaptation of the first 5 minutes of Up, basically. That's like, or it's just like you're just seeing this couple meet, grow old together, have arguments, reconcile, and just like, yeah,
right.
I got you. Offerman he acts his ass off. He does.
I got you.
I got you. But like,
so was Frank? I got a question. This was definitely Bill's first same-sex encounter. It was definitely like it definitely seems like it because, like she says, the passion, the overwhelming feelings of I'm finally getting to be myself and be. They're like, there's no one around to judge me. Who's he gonna tell? And nobody like. So you see the overwhelming emotions, like the viewer said, but for Frank, this seemed kind of regular. So was Frank already gay, or was Frank actually what he was joking off to Bill that he's not like going around sleeping with people to get nice meals and keep going?
I don't know, and I think that's just you don't really know. This is you meet these people when you meet them, and you just have to go off what you know.
Because
But this next part that after they like get together, it's like 5 years later, and they start arguing. And right here is where I'm like, okay, we're gonna get to it really quickly. Um, they're arguing about Frank wanting to make the place look nicer and like do some yard work and make the other houses in the town look nice and
right,
fixing the boutique for some stupid reason. I don't know why, but uh, and they it's just like back and forth thing. And this is what I'm going to say in the game. The reason there's a split between them is because Frank can't handle Bill's survivalist mentality anymore. And uh, I'm gonna bring up the letter. Uh,
no, no, no,
because
no. We got to bring up the letter
okay,
after we at the end
after
at
this,
the we
okay.
gotta tell
So,
the
but
story.
I was like, okay, this is happening now. No,
No,
they immediately like this
nip
Bill's
that
like,
in the
okay,
bud.
okay, okay, you can do your
Fine.
thing, fine. And then they're back together, and then like the next again, like you said, next scene, more romantic stuff, and it's like, where
This
is
is a
this
couple.
going? What are we
And it's
doing?
like okay, like yeah, and it's like you're vested into them because you're thinking like, okay, they're like this isn't a short flashback. Like I kept thinking during the whole Bill and Frank sequence that we would get flash forward to Joel and Ellie what they're doing right now, and then you could see like Bill, you could see it's going back into Bill's head to go back to that flashback. I kept feeling like that what was going to happen, but it never did. So, like you said, they're arguing about building up this boutique, and Frank is like, when people come to visit, because people will come, and Bill's like, who the hell is going to come? There's no one here. Right.
And he
Just
what
getting ready
he
to bring up. He's like, there's no
yeah.
one here. He's like, there's no one here. He was like, oh, I've been talking to people from Boston on, right. We're going to have friends. And he's like, I've been talking to people on Boston. He's like, what do you mean you've been talking to people? Like, you let people know where we're at? Like, I don't want this to be, that's Bill's biggest thing. He doesn't want to become a place where every Tom, Dick, and Harry can just come up in there and think they're going to stay, because then that's going to limit supplies. That's going to limit a lot of things. Remember, Bill's a survivalist. He had this planned out. Frank is an addition that he was not expecting. You know what I mean? So he had to readjust all his plans to cater to two people now instead of just one. You know what I mean? So he's like, oh, I've been talking to people from Boston. They're going to on the radio, and they start to, he's like, what do you mean you've been talking to people? Who want anyone to know about us, where we're at? I don't want people to just come up here thinking we're going to feed them this and this and that. And as they're arguing, Frank pulls him and says, you know what? I got something I want to show you. And I'm thinking, let me find out there's something infected or whatever the case may be over here or whatever. That's what I'm thinking. I'm thinking the worst. I'm thinking the absolute worst. And right. And to Bill include, I'm thinking the absolute worst. And Frank shows Bill freshly grown strawberries. And where did he get those freshly grown strawberries?
No. That's after. That's after.
Right.
That's after the
Right.
brunch.
I was right. Hold on. That's what I was
The
bringing up.
brunch is
Where did he
first.
get? Yeah. Where did he get those freshly grown strawberries? He had a brunch. They had a brunch with Tess and Joel, the two people that Frank was talking to, the woman that Frank was talking to over the radio. Now, they're dressed up, they're eating, Beautiful dinner again because why? Bill is Chef Gordon Ramsay Legacy. So Bill makes a beautiful brunch for them, and he's whole time he's eating, he has his hand legit on his gun, pointed at Joe. Joe starts talking to him because Frank and Tess walk off to discuss business and pretty much leave the two men at the table, the two muscles at the table to break the ice. And during that time, Joe pretty much tells Bill, like, look, I don't blame you. I would be the same way that you are right now. You know, not trusting people coming into your thing, but you know what? We're gonna need each other. We're gonna need each other, and we're gonna.
And Tess and Frank get together and go like they pair off so well together immediately. They're best friends. They go into the house. They like he's showing her around. Bill's like, "Don't take her in the house. Don't take. What are you doing?"
So he gives them they have the brunch. I think he gives them Frank gives them a little bit of supplies, and they go about their day. Frank ends up getting strawberries seeds from Tess. He plants them, and I think it's Bill's favorite fruit. I believe that's what it turns out to be, or something like that. So, like, Bill eating this strawberry was just like elatement for him.
Yeah. When they're leaving after brunch, Joel's telling Bill that the wiring he's got on his fence is going to
eventually go
over the next like 5 or 10 years. Make sure tests are working. I think he said we are.
Right. They legit married. That is
which is again. That's the thing. That's such a major thing. Is in the game, it was Bill's way or nothing. Right. And in this, Frank is like changing Bill for the better.
In this, Frank is the housewife, and Bill is the brute, and what the housewife says goes. Happy wife, happy life. That's what's going on right here. Happy wife, happy life. Like, there's a saying to that. That's also true. On the way out, Joel lets Bill know, listen, there's going to be people showing up, and I'm not talking about infected. I'm talking about raiders and people who's just going to want to come and take this place over. You're going to need help.
Which is where we see the fence. Next time we see it, this guy is more reinforced. It has the fucking flamethrowers, and the fence is like even more electrified. There's barbed wire on top of it, like it's heavily enforced. So yeah, I guess that's what she was saying earlier. That if Frank hadn't come, then Bill probably would have died way sooner.
Right, because he damn sure didn't die when Raiders did try to come that night.
No, we did not.
Them motherfuckers got flame on. Like, people were dying left and right, and Bill is standing in the middle of with a bullet wound. And we're thinking
that was something I don't know why the survivalists should not have walked out there and taken an open shot to the stomach. You know what I mean? That might have been maybe Frank should have been shot instead of Bill.
What does it make a difference?
I guess not. I just feel
Doesn't
like
make a difference.
a
Doesn't
guy
make a
that's-
difference.
I just feel the guy that is
Prepare for this
such
shit.
a-
Shouldn't have.
yeah, he
Shouldn't-
shouldn't have been shot.
But I guess it's kind of similar to what you're talking about with the animals and the thing. You just don't really think about it. You just kind of, it's more dramatic. Just let it go. So yeah, fair enough.
So Bill gets shot. Frank drags him off. Right. He does. And that's something that Bill recognizes now too, that it's not just him. Because he tells him like he didn't care about anything, like it was just him. And now that they're together, he has something to think about. So Bill gets shot, Frank pulls him out, and at this moment in time, I'm thinking, okay, damn, Bill ain't gonna make it. Ha, joke's on Kenny.
Bill keeps telling him, just call Joel. Call Joel.
Joel.
Just, you'll be okay. Call Joel. He'll take care of you. Call Joel. And we cut to, 10 more years later?
Yeah, 10 more years later.
It's close to the present, basically. And Frank's out there in a wheelchair.
First off, you don't know who's in the wheelchair. You just see kind of the silhouette. You think it's Bill because it's like right after after like you said, after being shot, you automatically go to Bill. And turns out, no.
That is a great line. That's a very romantic line.
Right. That I have never been afraid
before you showed up. That's a great line. It's such
I should have used that in my vows. That's a
I will use that in my I'll use that in my Tinder profile.
Listen, you know what? I plan on renewing. You know what? That might be. Let me write that shit down. Never. Good looking, Billy.
You're an idiot.
So,
but yeah, it's we'll get more to it later. I just can't believe how much it twisted what it was. I think it worked out for the better. But anyway, continue.
So we have Bill obviously is taking care of Frank, who is in a wheelchair. I'm thinking guessing cancer.
Something, sure, yeah.
Something like that. But
something's failing. But
it's to the point now where Frank wants to die. He no longer wants to live. And he pretty much tells Bill how his last night is going to be. He tells Bill, he's like, you're going to wash, get dressed. You're going to make me a beautiful dinner. You're going to make love to me. And you're going to put these pills, and you're going to give me these pills somehow. And he takes out a whole knot worth of pills. A whole knot.
Yeah, Bill breaks down.
Sobbing hard. He's like, how could you? He's like, come on, this I can't anymore. And Frank is like, I can't anymore. Bill finally, he agrees to it. And he gives Frank exactly what he wants.
I was reading. I can't remember what site it's from. I wish I could. It was an article about this episode. It talked about how over the years Bill learned to do the little things for Frank. And I was about to bring that up. Yeah, how Bill was just kind of watering the flowers at this point, just voluntarily.
And it's because what Franks say, the little things are how we show love.
Mm-hmm.
Something like that. Well, Bill does all the little things. not even being asked at this point. It's just this is what Frank would like. This is
This
what
is
Bill's
what I'm
going to
going to
do.
do.
Mm-hmm.
And reluctantly, Bill agrees to Frank's request and proceeds to give Frank the night of his life. And the dinner that Bill puts on front of Frank for his last meal is the same meal that he gave him the first time he met him. So that was very, with the same exact wine too. So they felt that connection right there. And Frank, I'm ready. He says, okay. Bill takes out the powder, puts it in a drink, gives it to him, lets Frank take it. And Frank is sitting there with a tear in his eye, but not a tear of, I'm going to lose you, just like a tear. And then that's when Frank it has to be. And then that's when Frank realizes, and he says it. He says, it was in the wine bottle, wasn't it? He realized Bill's not staying without him. And he goes, take me upstairs. And he took him upstairs and they laid down together. Next thing we know, we're with Joel and Ellie at the fence. And Joel knows the code. He puts the code in, opens up the fence. They go into Bill and Frank's house. And in that house, there's a note that was left. And it's to Joel. And it's to Joel. He says, dear whoever, more than likely Joel. Pretty much knows Joel's going to make it. Hey, that's why I had that face on. That's why I had that face on at the end of the episode. Now you get it. It had nothing to do with anything else. It was like, what the fuck did I just watch? I'm supposed to be watching a zombie show. What the fuck did I just watch? Like, what? Emotional roller coaster? No, this is a zombie show. What the hell? that now you get it. So in the note, pretty much Bill tells Joe, take what you need or whatever, but he says, don't come into the bedroom. He pretty much tells Joe what happened. He pretty much tells Joe what happened, and he says, we left the window open so the house wouldn't smell. And so Joel knows that they're dead in that room. Ellie takes a shower. She's like, they have running hot water. I'm going to take a shower. So she finally takes a shower. And as she's walking out, she tells Joe, you're going to take one too. Like, she tells him, like, dude, you stink. You're going to take one. Okay. So the fact that Bill and Frank die pissed me the fuck off.
Because you wanted more Bill and Frank.
At this point, after having 40 minutes of Bill and Frank is supposed to be in this bitch to the end of the season at least. As somebody that they check back to or whatever the case may be. And here's the thing. I had to look back at it because I was showing my daughter episode 1. They mentioned Bill and Frank in episode 1. When Tess and Joel are outside the apartment discussing what their plan is, They said, we can stop by Bill and Frank's, pick up some supplies or whatever. So when Joel comes back in the apartment, Ellie goes, "Who's Bill and Frank?" And he just kind of looks at her and doesn't answer. Well, if you mention their asses in episode 1, episode 3, you give me 40 minutes of their fucking life, you gonna kill these some bitches off?
At the beginning of things, it's either the beginning of this episode or the end of the last one. They mentioned them again, and Ellie goes, "Are Bill and Frank nice?" And Joel says, "Frank is."
Right.
Frank's nice. Bill's kind of a dick.
Right.
This letter, I got pulled up
letter.
here. Well, the letter to Joel. I used to hate the world, and I was happy when everyone died. But I was wrong because there was one person worth saving. That's what I did. I saved him, and I protected him. That's why men like you and me are here. We have a job to do, and God help any motherfuckers who stand in our way. I leave you all of my equipment and all my weapons and equipment. Use them to keep Tess safe.
Mm-hmm. He doesn't know that Tess isn't there anymore.
The letter also starts with, "Joel, I never really liked you.
I never liked you,
but I respected you." Also, at the end of the letter, he said it's something about like, if you're gonna cook this, I recommend pairing it with this wine. He was still like giving recommendations on wine and food, even to the end, which is weird. It's just like a nice little.
It's Ron Swanson.
Yeah,
it's Ron Swanson, like
all the way to the end.
And that's what got me. I'm like, okay, I'm invested in Bill and Frank. Bill and Frank have to be around. What the hell you mean Bill and Frank are dead? Bill and Frank could have been a 10-minute fucking flashback then. If Bill and Frank were going to end right, if Bill and Frank were going to end up dead in this motherfucking episode, why did I spend a whole hour here? Like, I was too through. I was too through, and you're telling me that no matter what, even in the game, we weren't going to probably get more than an episode of Bill and Frank. If that's the case,
we weren't gonna get Frank at all if they had followed that, because Frank's dead immediately. Like you only see Frank's dead body. You don't even see Frank.
Right. So if that's the case, then they could have been a 10-minute damn flashback, not 40 minutes. Right. They got us in one episode. You absolutely.
Neil Druckmann shared a tweet immediately after saying, "What are y'all upset about? Why are y'all crying? This is the happy episode."
This is the happy episode. What the shit? What the shit then? I'm all right, Mongo, bring up the note. No.
All right, so we'll talk about it real quick before I bring it up. So in the game, you meet Bill after all, Tess dies and all this other stuff. You meet Bill, and he's a dick, and he's a survivalist. And he tells you that Frank isn't around anymore. And Frank has taken his supplies and tried to run off without them. And then you go and investigate where, certain parts of this area, and you find Frank, or what's left of Frank, because Frank is dead. Frank was bitten by some of the infected and decided to, instead of become a clicker or some kind of thing, he was going to hang himself. But before that, he left a note.
Oh, the note, which had me crying when I first read it.
I don't know if you can read that. I'll read it.
Yeah, that's kind of small over here.
Well, Bill, I doubt you'd ever find this note because you were too scared to ever make it to this part of town. But if for some reason you did, I want you to know I hated your guts. I grew tired of this shitty town and of your set-in your ways attitude. I wanted more from life than this, and you could never get that. And that stupid battery you kept moaning about, I got it. But I guess you were right. Trying to leave this town will kill me. Still better than spending another day with you. Good luck, Frank.
That's hilarious.
I love how the game Bills are warning Joel turned out it keeps being closed off. Yeah, basically, yeah, and I think that sort of happens in the show too, where Joel sees Bill open up some and how it's making him better as a person.
It does, but why? I don't need 40 minutes if you're gonna kill him off.
The game it's they don't say it's implied that Bill's gay because Bill has like gay porn magazines in his truck
that Ellie finds.
that Ellie finds. Ellie's
she goes,
like,
"Why are
look
these
at
pages
these
stuck together?"
Ellie's reading it and like, oh my gosh, is this what everybody's was all talking about back in the day? Whoa, why are they stuck together? And Joel's like, I don't think you should be reading that.
And she's like, I'm just fucking with you. I know what it is.
Tosses it out the window. Ellie and Bill also had like a lot of like back and forth together that we didn't get to see in the show. I, as someone that played the game and got to see this, and this is the thing that I was telling you about before. I've never seen something like this before where they change the original concept and it's a major plot point, and the people that were fans of the original game loved it probably a lot more than the ones that didn't.
Because the ones who didn't, like myself, we got vested for 40 fucking minutes. These motherfuckers to die.
Like we were expecting the set right when they started arguing about Frank wanting to like change the town and like I want to make this place look nice. I want to have people over. I was like, here we go. Okay, so we're just getting right to it. He's gonna fuck Bill over, and we're just gonna move on. And when they didn't do it, I was like, oh, okay, where is this gonna go?
And
it was a bit of Frank, but the writer said, nah, you will get invested in emotional. Yeah, pretty much.
That's the bullshit. That's my issue. If it was gonna end up with us not having a bunch of Bill and Frank from the get-go, why give me 40 minutes of Bill and Frank?
Are you mad because you got emotionally invested, or are you mad because you think this is going to take away from something else later on?
I'm mad because I got fucking invested. I'm gonna keep it 100. I'm mad I got fucking invested in Bill ass and fucking Frank. Fucking Franks and Beans. I'm mad I got invested in that shit and they didn't last but one episode. Damn it,
I want 3. I want to see them in every episode until the end of the season.
I needed them in at least 3. Give me 3. Give me 3. And then you tell me that him and Bill and Ellie have some back and forth with each other. A brief second in the game or whatever the case may be. You don't think I want to see fucking sarcastic ass Bill and super sarcastic dickhead Ellie? You don't think I would want to see that interaction?
You can see it, Kenny, if you play the game.
No, I ain't playing the game because I know it's bullshit now.
Kenny screams through wires. No matter what podcast we do, Kenny's screaming at somebody.
That's gonna be a 5-hour podcast every week.
It was such a great fucking episode of TV. Like it was so great. But man, like I get why you're upset. Like it's because you got so invested in someone that's just not going to be around. I get it. But
you gave us excellent television. You gave us actors who put their all into these roles. You gave us a storyline. You gave us a plot. You gave us hope. And then you shot us like old Yeller out the back in the field is what you did.
Yeah, I want this to be crystal clear. This isn't because somebody on this show didn't like the episode.
This episode was one of the best episodes of TV we've ever seen.
And you killed it. And you killed the people.
Kenny's just mad because they're dead,
Which is understandable.
It's getting review bombed by people for turning Bill and Frank's relationship into what it is, and I hate that for it because, man, it went from this like toxic ass. They might not have been a couple. They might have just been living together. They didn't really like specify enough for you to know. But it was toxic and hateful to this like nice romantic. Have a great
two sweet old people together. They became a sweet old couple together.
All right, so you have someone backing you up. Damn it!
Right. Right.
Up in the notebook.
Like, how do you do that? Like, I'm totally thinking to myself, okay, Bill and Frank are gonna be here for a minute. All right. And then I'm thinking to myself, okay, with all and what Bill has and stuff like that, Bill's house is going to be a checkpoint. So at certain different points, I can see Joel going back to this checkpoint to get what he needs to go on or whatever the case may be. Like the house still is, right? But come on now. A heart is not a heart is a house full of love. And Bill and Frank is love, baby. Like, how you just get rid of love, baby? Like, what's up?
Not even just like as far as like a gay relationship. That's one of like the greatest representations of a relationship. Period. I have seen
of a real marriage
on TV ever. I have like it's incredible, and it was just 40 minutes, and then. And like Neil Druckmann, he's like, that's the happy episode. So I up to this point I knew what was coming. Now I don't know. I don't know what else is going to change because the past episodes have had minor tweaks I've told you about.
No, this one was a big ass
tweak. Such a major change that still ultimately Joel gets the truck, they get supplies and they leave, but it changed so much of this story. Not as far as what's going to happen to Joel and Ellie, but like the relationships that Joel had before, how it's going to affect him. Maybe he changes what he does. I'm really invested in how it changes everything going forward.
I know one thing. I don't need random 40-minute episode flashbacks for me to get vested in somebody who's not going to be there at the end of the damn episode again.
You're going to be furious. You're going to be furious if tomorrow's episode is 40 minutes of Tommy hooking up with somebody and then he's dead when Joel finds it.
I'm not watching the show no more. I'm not watching the show. I'm going to tell you that shit right now.
You've been waiting for Tommy since episode 1. You've been waiting for where's Tommy? You've been waiting for Tommy since they flash forward.
Okay. That's still my main concern of this show. Finding Tommy. All right. That's been my main concern. Finding Tommy. And if I find out Tommy ass is dead, episode 4, I'm not watching the rest of the season. Show kiss my ass. You get me invested in one of the greatest love fucking stories I've ever seen, and they kill them off, and then the other main plot I have, you kill that? No.
It was so hateful. They messed up this master storytelling. Like, yeah, it's their fault. Look, if they don't want to, like, it was. I cannot
to kill somebody off at. That's what I'm mad at. I
don't think she meant you. I think she meant the people that are just like mad at this being a homosexual.
Who cares?
Love story, essentially.
This shit was an amazing goddamn story, and they killed. Like, you gave me a 30-minute PBS short. Like, come on, like, what the hell?
Years from now, we're like, oh yeah, like, do you ever like watch any like romantic stuff? Like, Yeah, I do. And I just put on this episode of The Last of Us.
Right?
Every time he gets the strawberries, I can't.
I can't. Like, I can't. Unbelievable. That's really what I'm mad at. The fact that two characters that I really wanted to see more of is gone. Strawberries is actually one of my favorite damn fruits. Like, I love strawberries.
That's why you're pissed.
I love strawberries.
It's ruined strawberries for you. That's why you're mad.
Like, I love strawberries, yo. Hey, if you give, like, them edible arrangements and shit like that, all the strawberries gone. Kenny done got to the strawberries.
Come from a guy who got notebooked. We've all got notebooked. We've all been notebooked. You haven't? Good luck. No, it's man, what a great episode. Jesus.
To kill off people, son of a bitch.
Give you sure strawberries all. Holy shit. So we'll see what happens next episode, and we'll, y'all, thanks for joining us this week.
God damn it. Don't forget to follow us, folks, at facebook.com/undertheringpod and twitch.com under the ring. Yeah, this lady gets it. She knows about my strawberry addiction. She gets it. I'm follow us at facebook.tv/undertheringpod and twitch.tv/undertheringpod. Don't forget, we do have a link tree. Linktree / put that up real quick. There we go. Linktree / Under the Ring Pod. There you can find all of our individual Twitter handles. You got Greg Bush SK, you got Rock Ribs 44, The Right Answer, you got Mr. Fresh Beard, you got Bordiel Maliente, you got Justin D. Baxley. Folks, thank you for joining us on this Saturday. Tune in with us next week. Right. Wine, duck, and strawberries. Different.
Ruined.
Different.
Forever. Gone
Different.
forever.
Different. So
we'll see y'all next week, folks. Find someone you love and watch that episode together. Just have a nice time. That's a Valentine's thing we can do. Valentine's is next week, right? Get some strawberries, some wine.
Why didn't they give us Bill and Frank Valentine's Day?
That's a good point. They should have. That's their fault.
They could have mentioned Bill and Frank now and them going to the house and stuff like that. They could have gave us the full flashback of Bill and Frank Valentine's week.
No,
terrible. Well, folks, thank you for joining us. Right. Thank you for joining us. If you like wrestling, don't forget to join us on Thursdays around 8:45-ish. We'll be right here talking wrestling. If you just watched Last of Us, just join us next Saturday. Have a good one, folks. See y'all later.